to the Modern Office, coming to you live from a mobile office, much like our friends in the door-to-door sales, auto insurance, and pharmaceutical sales industries. Today we're going to be talking about a hot-button issue, quiet quitting. Why it's important, why it's big now, does it matter to you, and what you can do to mitigate this effect on how you're doing your work today. So, what is quiet quitting? Quiet quitting is, simply put, the act of doing less work throughout the day. So as you get tired, as you get burned out on a larger scale, as you are done doing your job, you may slow down. You may stop doing your job effectively. You may stop doing your job at all. And this is becoming more of an issue for managers because in the office they could see you. You know, if they could see, oh, Bob's not really sitting at his desk anymore and he's not really doing his work and he's kind of just, not putting in the effort that we're used to seeing Bob do, then they could address that. But it's more of a worry in the work from home environment, the modern office, because they can't see that, and it's a little scary. So it kind of plays into the same whole set of ideas, set of articles that you're reading about how do we track employees, can we track employees, is it ethical to track employees, and then from the side of employees, can they track us, is it ethical to track us, should we feel mad about them tracking us? So it's that same kind of back and forth. For its part, quiet quitting is absolutely nothing new. It's the same work avoidance, it's the same slowdown, same burnout terminology that we've had for years. It just has a fancy new name, which is, of course, quiet quitting. Why it has a new name probably has something to do with the fact that we love giving new names to things, and that's great because language is always changing and evolving, but it does give a new sense of alarm to it, and I have to say that's a little bit of a nothing burger. There's nothing new about work avoidance, and there's nothing new about it from either the perspective of it's nothing new psychologically and you don't have to be worried about it, and there's nothing new about it from a work perspective. Work avoidance is built in. Your boss does not expect you in any industry, whether you're a phone-based employee or a manufacturing employee or a door-to-door salesman or a nurse, to ever be giving 100%, if they're a good manager, at least. I'm going to preface that, because 100% employee giving 100% of the time is burning themselves out. And as any HR representative in this conversation can tell you, at 100% of the time, burning yourself out, you're going to leave the company. And if you leave the company, then they have to invest in a new employee that has to be trained. And investing in a new employee is always more expensive than than just retaining an old employee. It's not something that a good manager wants to do. So, as you have that discussion and as you think about what what quiet quitting means to you, just keep in mind that it's really just talking about you slowing down at work. And slowing down at work is not intrinsically a bad thing. So if you think about, is quiet quitting for me? Does it affect me? Is it something that I need to worry about? The answer is yes, maybe. Is quiet quitting affecting your work performance? Are you quiet quitting, say, in the busiest part of the day when you really need to be giving your best? Then probably you should maybe think about, maybe I can refocus my time. Maybe my lunch needs to be earlier in the day so that I can be more rested for my busiest part of the day. Or maybe my breaks aren't scheduled correctly. Maybe talk to your manager. Maybe if you're a self-starter, how do you structure your day that's best for you? If you're a manager, what does quiet quitting mean for you? Well, really, if you're thinking about it logically and not just following the trends on social media, quiet quitting really doesn't mean anything to you because it's not a change. It's really just shrinkage. It's really just how much are we getting out of our employees. It's really just shrinkage. It's really just how much are we getting out of our employees. It's that same percentage of how much work versus play our employees are able to get into their workday. And if you've ever been expecting 100% of your employees, I'm sorry, you were never getting that. And the ones that were giving it to you were always at risk for burnout, which isn't something that you should ever have wanted as their boss, simply because you're going to lose them, and that's not what you want either. So in conclusion, quiet quitting, nothing really new. It's the same thing we've always talked about in the workplace. How much work can you put in before you get burned out? And from an employee's perspective, it's just, how much am I willing to do for this place that's giving me a paycheck? For your employer, it's how much work can I get out of this person before they leave the company? And it has a fancy new name, which is fun, but ultimately inconsequential. I hope you enjoyed this discussion. Maybe you disagree, maybe you don't. I'd love to hear from you below. But thank you for turning into the Modern Office today. Have a great day.